Good morning, how are you? Had a good weekend? Hopefully you have. We'll wait for a minute or two for a few more people to join us, because the morning creeps upon us, doesn't it? And 10 o'clock arrives. Now I know the original reference said white horses rearing on a beach. However, I then remembered I've only got 45 minutes to do a demo. So I found the reference with one white horse instead. And it's basically going to be the same if you do 1 or 100. I chickened out. So I hope you've had a good week. And you should just about make out that I have done a few bits and bobs on there. A horizon line. I have moved the horse slightly over to the left. Because I think it looks slightly better. A little bit more fun. And interesting, perhaps. Just checking if you heard me speak twice. It's just I was just checking. I've kind of lost signal on the laptop, and I don't know why it does it. I think it's a Facebook thing because my laptop is plugged directly into the internet, and if I watch it back on my phone, I can actually see everything. But by trying to look at the screen that I've got, I can't tell. It has trouble playing a video that I'm actually recording. And clearly it can't be the internet because I'm able to watch it on another device. How annoying. So this is a demo, but generally, if you remember at Great Boughton, we very rarely start at 10 o'clock when we're in the village hall. We're lucky to start at 5 or 10 past by the time everyone's settled down. So I'll wait a couple more minutes just to make sure but people can join whenever, can't they? Or they can watch back, and I think we might have a few watching later on. So if you're watching on catch up, hello. Hope you're doing all right. It's a chilly morning this morning, very autumnal. A lovely day to find out that my heating doesn't work at all. I've been testing it over the weekend and it doesn't work. I've been having right issues with it over the last 5 months. It was stuck on during the really hot spell a couple of months ago. So I came home from work and it was 30 odd degrees inside my cottage. It was hotter inside than it was outside. The boilers just wouldn't turn themselves off. So I've been having fun and games with it. Had a lovely masterclass. Yeah, on Saturday we did a hair on a wooden panel. Full day class. It was really good. That's our first full day class that we've trialed online, and it worked so well because what we've been doing is offering two options. So you've got the offer of it's £55 and we send you all the materials so you can do it. The materials are worth about 35 quid, to be honest, because normally in a class we'd provide the materials but we'd give everybody a squeeze of paint, but obviously this time we're having to send out tubes of paint and things. Or £25 if you just have got the supplies and you want to do it that way. So you can still watch the masterclasses on catch up as well. So it's so those that were watching and did it with me have got the opportunity to watch it again and again and again, and anybody that wants to join in live or as a catch up can do that as well. Let's see if anybody is on Discord. Let me plug my ear in, see if Anne and Chris have joined us on Discord. and Robert. Morning, Chris, Anne, and Robert. How are you? I'm all right, thank you. Yeah, I always have to wait 5 to 10 minutes before I join on Discord because I have to plug my ear in, and if I've got any faffing to do, I can't do it while I'm connected. Yeah, we had the masterclass on Saturday, which was nice. And yesterday I just did some baking. I thought I made a banana loaf cake with drizzled icing on, and I made my own pizza from scratch. It was actually really tasty. So I didn't eat the whole banana loaf, obviously. I just had some. I've got some for having with lunch today. Yes, it was really not. I've never done one before, so I was quite impressed at how it worked out. And the pizza dough was really good. You're supposed to wait for it for like a day or apparently, but I was hungry. I was hungry today, not tomorrow. So I didn't. I left it 5 minutes, and then it I it rose quite a lot. But I put herbs in the dough, so that was quite nice. And I just found whatever I'd got in the fridge knocking about because I thought, oh, I'll get a pizza, but then I thought, you know what, it's like 20-30 quid to get delivery to me, and I don't want to spend 20-30 quid on food that I've already probably got in the cupboard. So I thought, I know, I'm sure there's a recipe for pizza base. Hello, Sue. well some of them, because of where I live, I'm further out than you. So most delivery places won't deliver to me unless there's a £4 delivery charge on top, with a minimum order of £10 to £15 for most of them. So but you see, places like Domino's and that won't deliver to me. I'm about half a mile too far out. But there are no other Domino's in the vicinity that could do it. So you've got huge swathes of the country where there aren't Domino's that can't get pizza deliveries. Yet there's a pizza place next 2 doors down from Domino's, and they'll deliver to me. It's funny, isn't it? So I use that one. I don't know what it is. It's got a Union Jack as their logo, but they're very quick. I can get a delivery within sometimes 20 minutes to half an hour. So it's not bad. But I thought, no, I'll make my own, and actually it was so tasty that I'll probably do it again. So I might never, as long as I can get I used bread flour. You don't have to use bread flour, but I thought I'd do it just to try and see how we're going on. Right, so what I'm going to do, I did put a list of the colours. There's not very many. Yellow ochre, ultramarine, burnt sienna, cadmium red. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the sky first. I would, in normal life, I would probably do a wash of the whole page with yellow ochre first. But I'm just going to do the sky. So ultramarine, cadmium red, yellow ochre, and burnt sienna. That's all we need today. Keep it simple. But no, the online masterclass, the full day masterclass, worked so well. So I know we've got that option for the future. I think we had 5 live, and one joined in yesterday as a catch up. But we can have catch ups all the while now with those. So that's never been an option before, has it? You know, you've either had to do the class and miss out, but now we can ship out supplies and stuff. I think it's a really good option. So I'm going to go with a bit of yellow ochre next. Oh, nice. Well, I've moved my horse slightly over to the left than in the picture, just because I think it looks nicer for composition. And how are you, Robert? Are you all right? Oh, that's exciting. Not exciting, no. I didn't think it would be. I suppose it's hard because you can't go anywhere. During lockdown, it was different, wasn't it? Because nobody could go anywhere and there was nowhere to go. Oh. Yes, freedom. So a bit of yellow ochre, and then I'm going to go with some ultramarine and cadmium red to make a sort of purpley blue for the sky. Because obviously I'm using yellow ochre, so I don't want a green, but by making the blue a little bit purple, it should help knock any chances of green. I have left a little bit of white. I've got an issue with the light today. I don't know what's going on. It doesn't seem light. It's either too light or not light enough in here. I suppose it's because I'm used to the summer light that we've had, and all of a sudden we've changed, haven't we? It's everything's changed over the last couple of days. The weather and the light. It's getting dark at 6 o'clock now, and we're hurtling towards the end of the year, which is scary. Although it feels like this year's been like 3 years worth of years in 1 year, hasn't it, so far? It feels like a very long year. Well, yeah, it's funny, isn't it? Because I was thinking this morning, oh, I need to get my car MOT'd, and I thought, no. Morning, Sandra. I thought, no, I've done that in February, and we're still in the same year. It's just so weird. It's such a weird feeling this year, isn't it? But I don't know. There's nothing we can do about it. I'm getting quite concerned about the whole track and trace thing, because obviously I deal with the public every day, and if I'm notified that I've been in contact with somebody, I have to close my business for 2 weeks. And but I can't do online shop, because technically Jackie wouldn't be able to work either, because she'd be in the same contact. So that would mean, and I wouldn't be entitled to a test unless I've got symptoms. So I'd have to close for 2 weeks, and then what would happen then? As soon as I reopen, that I get another message saying, "Oh, you've been in contact with somebody else," and then I close. So I don't know how it works for small businesses like us, because I don't think there'll be any support in the same way. But then you're not really allowed to not close or shield for 2 weeks if you have been in contact with someone, because the police are starting to do checks apparently. So it's a yes, absolutely. I think this area is all right. No, I think that's the positive, but it is worrying all of us small business owners who just, we could end up being shut more than we're open. Right, so we'll let that dry a little bit. I'll let that dry. Oh, have you? He has his eye is really high in this photograph, though. I mean, it's right, and because he's only got one ear, because they're facing backwards, and the other one's behind his head and behind his mane, he's got an interesting face. Well, I've not seen you for a while, so I can't comment. Right, I'm going to get the hairdryer on this for a sec, because I want this dried. Let's see how that looks. An A3 would work really well with this. Because the bigger the horse, the less complicated it would be. So it's tricky because obviously it's a white horse, but if you look at the horse, he's not actually white at all. If I have a quick look at the reference image in larger, um, we know it's a white horse, but actually the sky is whiter than the horse is, which is more of a grey and cream. So it's going to be interesting to get to that part. But I'll just quickly blob in the C, which I'll probably have to do in a few layers because of dry brush. I am going to go a bit of yellow ochre first, and I'm going to do yellow ochre wash over the whole bottom, including the sand, just for time. Yes, the drawing is the trickier bit because the watercolours, it's nothing, you know, there are no new techniques, shall we say. It's just remembering what techniques and where to put the right technique in the right place, or the right colour in the right texture in the right place. That's kind of just what watercolour is, isn't it? But it's what painting is. It's the sticking the right shape in the right colour in the right place. But the skill comes in learning and knowing which colour, which shape, which place. And how much water. That's the tricky one. Now I think there's quite a lot of people that do what you do, Sue. Anyway, they watch the demo, or maybe they throw a couple of techniques on a bit of scrap paper just to try them out, or try the colours out or something, and then they'll watch it later on, or the next day or the evening when they've got less on and that kind of thing. Um, it's a really good option, and that will never change, even whenever the classes return. Um, those of you that come to the class will also be in the online class as well, so you'll be able to watch it back. Because I know from, and I'm glad it's taken me a long time, but I know in Great Britain, because I do a 45-minute demo live like I'm doing now, and then you get on to paint it. Sometimes by the time you get to paint it, you've forgotten what I did. And what you can do, those of you with smartphones and a bit of 4G, you can always quickly log on to the group and watch that little bit back during the class. So, there's lots of options that you can do. Now we've got this facility set up. I wish I'd done this a long time ago, but I don't think the technology was there really to do it well. So it's, yeah, and that's it. I mean, we've done it for Kevin. Hello, Kevin, if you're watching later on. But I'd never really worked out how to make it work for all of our classes. And the biggest stumbling block we had was the master classes. And then we worked out, well, we can just do it as a package that we can post the stuff out. Now we're posting things out. We can just post all the supplies out that people need, and that means that they can do it at any time ever. Next year somebody could do last Saturday's masterclass, and we just ship them out the gouache, the brushes, and the paint and the outline, and they can do it whenever. So I think potentially it's got more scope for us than anything else. It's certainly a lot easier than trying to rent out a massive shop to get a bigger classroom, because our rent would have jumped up more than quadruple. It would be more than quadruple what we're paying here, and the extra number of students wouldn't really be paying for that rent. So because we were looking in January and thinking, well, how can we expand the classroom? How can we expand the classes? But we can't afford to go any bigger. And if we went bigger, we'd still only get 2 or 3 more people in a lesson, and that really wouldn't make it viable to pay for the rent's increase. So this answered us wonderfully. I'm just waffling to wait for this to dry a little bit. Right, so I'm going to go with ultramarine. I'm going to do my number 4 round. Ultramarine and burnt sienna this time rather than cadmium red. And it's going to be dry brush, but I do want a nice dark horizon line, as straight as I can get it. Gosh, that's the hardest part. Dilute that a little bit more with a bit more water. So I've gone for a steely blue grey, I suppose you could call it. I lightened it a little bit, and I'm just going to drag and dry brush over to have a few little sparkles in the sea. So I'm dragging the brush horizontally. It's a round brush, but because it's on its edge, it works a bit better for dry brushing. But I've got to say, I'm really enjoying having my Sundays baking days, because I don't normally have time to bake at work. You know, when I get home at 6 or whatever, I really don't feel like doing proper stuff. But on Sundays, now I'm only working 1 Sunday a month at the moment. Next year I might do 1.5 Sundays a month, but it gives me a lot more time to do stuff, and yeah, it's really nice to do. Sets me up for the week. So I'm being really skimmy and light with this, but I'll probably go and I'll mix a slightly darker colour afterwards to brush on top. He is, and don't forget that the weight of him is pushing his hoofs into the sand, so you can't see the grey part of his hoof. They're sunken into the sand because of the weight of him. So, oh, I've just gone over his leg. So you can't see some of it in there. I'm going to go a little bit darker now. So I'm going to mix the same 2 colours up. A lot of the horse is going to be ultramarine and burnt sienna. I thought we haven't done this combination for a while, and I thought I'd avoid cadmium yellow because we've used that a lot lately. So always hard to know when to go darker, because we know we've got to go darker. But if I just brush up with this darker mix, so it's the same colour, just more pigment, less water. Yeah. At least we haven't got acrylics tomorrow, have we? It's quite hard because it's getting the body length and the leg length right, and it might work standing, but obviously this is rearing, so this is different again. So the proportions that you'd have for it standing on all four legs is slightly different. It's the same as a cat, isn't it? If you look at a cat walking and then a cat reaching to play with a pom-pom or something, totally different. So these aren't quite crashing waves. The only white horse we've got is not in the sea, it's on the sand today. I'll see if I can stick to my 45 minutes, so that will give me, because I started just after 5 past, so I've got another 20 odd minutes, 25 minutes, so that's good. We can do this. Maybe. Just make it feel like we've got waves and things. I've got to dry brush this bit, that bit that's clear, or fairly clear. I think that'll do. I'll work on the horse next, and then the browns will be the next part. So what I'm going to do with the horse, I want him to be more of a brown grey, so that's going to be more burnt sienna with the ultramarine. And it's tricky because the light is coming from the right, yet it's, because he's all muscular. Let's see if I can switch cameras to see if we can get some detail in the horse a little bit. So we want to go a little bit darker. Now this is going to be really dark, and then I can clean that line off, because obviously watercolour's dry 30% lighter. I know, I've never said it before. Yeah, but more burnt sienna with it. To make it a bit more of a browny grey rather than a bluey grey. Sarah, I bet you'll be good at this one because you like your horses as well, don't you? You could turn this into a unicorn, Louise. Maybe. Do some loose tones to start off with. Gradually build it up. I'm giving him a bit of a... I need to angle his joints a little bit more. And I can bet my life I won't have gone dark enough, because I think this is always the issue. We never go dark enough because we know it's a white horse, so I'll be sort of like very tentatively keeping it a white horse, and then if I look at the comparison photographs I won't be anywhere near dark enough. Let's blend that in with a damp brush. I wouldn't use a whole damp horse, I wouldn't wet the horse first, and the reason for that is just because I might end up losing a bit too much control. So I'd rather do a bit and dampen. I always think when I do things like this, because I'm not a horse painter. I did a lovely, and I can't share it yet. During lockdown, I had two commissions, which I actually found really hard, and it wasn't because it was the animal that I found hard. It was because I had to do the animal and the owner. So it was a portrait of a horse and a portrait of the owner. But then the one that I struggled the most with was there was then, I'm going a little bit darker now. There was there was one where they were really close, so it was just their faces in profile, which I really love. It's one of my most favourite things I painted. But then there's another one of the owner standing next to the horse, and that's and it was really sunny, so there were lots of shadows, and then the person commissioning it didn't like all the shadows because it made the person look older. So I had to then repaint it all and take a lot of the shadows out, which I didn't mind doing. But he's not told me that, he hasn't given me any feedback, so I don't know if the recipient ever had them or if they hated them or not. So I can't share them on social media because I don't know. But I think they'd like the one for definite, but they might not like the one that made them look older. But the whole face was the size of a stamp, you know, so that for a portrait, you know, sort of like my thumb size, really hard to get the level of detail that they wanted to get. And I did it in gouache, but it was a tricky one. But the other one I did of them, really lovely, really lovely. Right, this is looking a bit better now, I think. I've avoided doing the hair and the tail. It won't be long before Sheila's Sweets opens up their milk bar. So that's going in the old buzzies. And it's so they're keeping the sweet shop, but the sweet shop that is the sweet shop now will be the milk bar. So you can go in and get milkshakes of like a Cadbury's cream egg milkshake maybe, or you know, a Kit Kat milkshake kind of thing, like they've got in Chester. We did have one in Banbury a long time ago, but it closed down quite quickly. But it was in the high street, so I imagine the rents got them there. So what was Buzzy's Electricals and Antiques is going to be the sweet shop, and they've got all the sweets in, but it's or they've got all the shelving in, but it's a massive shop. They're gonna have to have twice the amount of sweets, I think, than they had before. But it's all good for the town. Nearly every single empty shop is being repurposed over the next few months. It is to say there's a pandemic. I'm too chicken to consider getting my own shop again. It would be nice, but I think I don't know. I don't want to risk it. A little bit darker there, so I'm just building up around his ribs. Build up the layers, because you can always blend them in, you see, with just a clean damp brush, and that works so well. That said, I have to remember that I've still got the mane to put in, and the detail, and the beach and the rocks. Keep my ears open for Jackie. I think she said she'd be here just after 1:30. Check my phone. She's not said she's here yet, so that's okay. That's a bit dark. I need to soften that. I might have to switch to my detail brush in a sec. See, the bonus that you will have as well is that you've got time to faff about at home. Once I do these, I don't get a chance to go back to them, because I'll be doing the next class or something. Needs to be a bit dark there as well. Number 1. Dark, so I'll make those two colours up, but almost black. Wipe the ferrule clean so I don't have any runs. I've been abusing my brushes too much lately, and they're splaying a little bit, the detailed ones. Oh, that's not the right brush, that's why. That's the old brush, not the new brush. I thought it wasn't giving a point like it should do, or like it was on Friday. I know we shouldn't really outline, but if I'd made my sky a bit darker, I wouldn't have needed to outline as much, but I think it does help to outline. That's kind of looking alright. Need to think about the mane and the tail now, because if I do too much in the way of the darks, I don't know whether it will work. He says add in more darks, but I did say I don't feel I would be going dark enough, didn't I? So I'm probably going to end up going too dark to avoid not being dark enough. Right, and then if I go with a bit of yellow ochre in with this sort of browny grey, I should be able to sort of play with the mane a little. To make it more of a sandy colour. I've not got a class this Tuesday evening, because they're in blocks of 2 weeks each lesson. I've got a course, I think I'm still lecturing in Byfield. It was a course that I started before lockdown, an art history course. Then, but I think they're allowing us back in. So I've got this Tuesday off where I'm not doing it. And then I can sit down and watch All Creatures Great and Small live. The last one, isn't it? Is it the last one? Oh, I'm glad you're enjoying it, Louise. I've added a bit of ochre into the mixture. A little bit of ochre, so it's sort of like a sandy colour. It needs to be a little bit darker than you think, just to bring it out, and then I'm adding a few grey bits within it. Have you lost the video? Let me check I've still got the video myself then, because I can't see. You've still got it. Might just be, you'll get it back in a bit, Robert, I think. It's just the way the wind's blowing the Wi-Fi. I know, that's the thing. I wait a few minutes and then I fiddle. Right, so let me move camera angles back. There we go. Oh, that's looking all right, that. So I'm going to see what the sand and rocks do, because they're very similar colours actually, the sand and the rocks, and I don't want to do too much at all. But it will help bring the horse looking paler. So it's basically going to be burnt sienna with a bit of ultramarine. That's going to be a bit too runny, I think. Maybe a hint of cadmium red, because we've not used that anywhere else in the picture other than the sky. Cut in the tail. So this is more of a pinky brown. I think when I post this on Saturday, we'll get a few more people, or Sunday we'll get a few people wanting to join in and do this one. Oh, that's too blue. I think this is a very Louise picture, isn't it? Yes. Yeah. A few speckles on the sand while it's wet. Oh, some of it's wet, some of it's dry. Let's go a little bit darker than ultramarine in there. I don't want too much of anything. I want to keep it soft. So yeah, I'll be definitely interested in seeing what you all come up with this one. I'm just dropping a few darks in, but then I'm going to lift out a few highlights in those rocks. And I'm going to cheat a little bit more and just bring out a rock shape. In the sea, so it doesn't look too odd. I'm not doing any spattering, I'm not thinking about anything else. Tap with the finger. Who? You can hear me? Can you hear me, Robert? Oh. And a bit of cadmium red as well, just a hint of cad red. Oh, you can't hear me. Yeah, only to balance it out because we haven't used cadmium red in the. We've only used it in the sky, so. Okay, so now I'm just going to lift out the hint of a few rocks. To get the light. And maybe a little bit darker in the rocks, just a little. Yellow ochre wash first. No, I did the whole sky in yellow ochre. Ah, because the ultramarine's mixed with a little bit of cadmium red. So it's more of a purpley blue than a blue. Oh, it's nice that you're able to join us. I hope everything goes all right then, Marie. Maybe a little bit darker underneath. I look forward to seeing what you create then. But best wishes for the surgery. I need to make the sand look like it's sort of roughed up around the hooves. I think I'm done. What do you reckon? Looks alright, doesn't it? I could go a little bit darker with parts of the mane. Maybe, not much. But it will help isolate certain strands. Yeah. I think we're done. That's nice. I thank you. I'm still in two minds whether to darken the horse or not, because you can see it is a lot paler than the reference image. But I think I've got enough darks in to show that it's a white horse. I'll see what it looks like when it dries properly, so I know whether I need to darken it or not. But I think it'll do. I think it'll be fine. So there we go. Next week, because as you know, it's always something different every week. Next Monday is a water lily in acrylics using a double loaded brush. So we're using flat brushes and double loading them to get the effects. So that's what's coming up next week. No, next Monday. So there's nothing tomorrow at all. Wednesday afternoon is Silver Birch Woodland in pencil. Thursday morning is Standing Stones in mixed media, which will probably be mainly acrylics maybe. Thursday afternoon is a hair gazing at a supermoon, but it won't be the same as the one that I did on Saturday, or the one that I did as the free class earlier this year. Thursday evening, nothing. Friday morning, is it October on Friday? It is, isn't it? October is the start of a 3-week art history course on the art of ancient China. Friday afternoon is a peacock butterfly. Saturday morning is a demo where I'm doing an autumn woodland using soft pastels. Nothing on Sunday, and then that brings us to Monday's class, which is the water lily using a double loaded brush. So thank you so much for your company this morning. I've really enjoyed that, and I look forward to seeing what you create when you do it. So thank you very much, everybody. Take care. Have a good week ahead, and I'll see you all soon. Bye, everyone. Bye.